we just had too many self-imposed mistakes, and I think that's what hurt us. When you put yourself behind like that, it's hard to catch up. I think I could throw the ball better, we could catch it better. I think it's just a little bit of everything. There's not one specific thing that sticks out, but it's a bit of a reality check for us. Go back and respond this week.
49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo after the Monday night overtime loss to the Seattle Seahawks. It was not a great game for Garoppolo. Plenty of misfires and not the same kind of confidence you'd want to have in the quarterback of a team that's in contention for the number one seed in the NFC. So, Chris Simms, on this Wednesday edition of PFT Live, we go, what's more likely? And the first topic, what's more likely? Jimmy Garoppolo is wearing a 49ers jersey in 2020 or playing for another team?
I'm going to go with the option one, that he's playing for the 49ers in 2020. I do. I'm not ready to panic on Jimmy Garoppolo yet. Yeah, it wasn't perfect the other night. But like he said, they dropped passes. Man, the two tackles got dominated, their first game back. You heard Kyle Shanahan in his press conference yesterday saying they were rusty and they certainly could have played better. Added to the fact that we said Jadeveon Clowney was phenomenal. So all those things led to issues for Jimmy Garoppolo. But ultimately, Mike, I just look at it and go, even with this loss, I just have a hard time thinking the 49ers are going to be really any worse than 12-4. And that's hard to make any quarterback change when your team is that good and wins that many football games. So I'm going with he's there in 2020.
I'm going to go with that for now. And I agree with you. It's difficult to do it when the team is 12-4, 13-3, whatever the case may be. But how he performs in the postseason relative to Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins, if he plays poorly, and the way that I could see it happen, you play poorly in the divisional round, but your team is still good enough to win. Then you play poorly in the conference championship round and you lose. That's the kind of thing that at least requires the 49ers to do their due diligence. And the question becomes, who else is out there, right? What do you do with Garoppolo and his contract? You can get out of it very easily by cutting him. You could trade him to someone else. He's got a $23.8 million salary next year, and they have until April 1 for a large chunk of it to become fully guaranteed. So they've got that flexibility that they bake into all of their major veteran contracts, giving them time to look at what's out there. I think that if he struggles in the postseason and they don't get to the Super Bowl, they'll at least look at what's out there. But the question is, what's out there? Yeah. How do you feel that you're, sufficiently confident that you're going to bring in somebody who's better? It's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. Exactly. And also, I think part of the concern is he ends up back in New England, and he's better in New England than he is in San Francisco in the Josh McDaniels system, and that's going to reflect poorly on the 49ers. I think they have to keep him for one more year unless it's just a disaster in the postseason. No,
those last 2 points, I think they're very, very strong, and especially you're right. It's about what else is going to be out there that's better, and you're not just going to get rid of a guy and then see what happens. So yeah, I'm with you, but there's still a lot of evaluating and a lot of ball to be played this season.
Kirk Cousins at one point not that long ago may have been available for Kyle Shanahan, but I have a feeling that the Vikings are going to happily pay the $29.5 million base salary for Cousins next year. All right, what's more likely? Jared Goff bounces back against Chicago, or the Bears defense shuts him down like they did last year when they got together in Chicago?
I'm going with option two. The Bears defense shuts him down. I am. I mean, we've seen the way the Rams have looked. I mean, this Bears defense is still one of the best in football. Now, their offense is an issue, too. But, I just think, with the state of the Rams' offensive line, and then, you're losing your center, and Rob Havenstein, the right tackle, is not going to be playing this week. And some of the predictable nature of the Rams' offense right now. The Rams got to change it up. They can't play one tight end, one running back, three wide receivers every play all game long. They make it very easy on defenses that way. It's too much of that personnel set. But, yeah, I'm going with the Bears defense. I think they're still a really, really good unit.
And, Chris, one point that hasn't nearly gotten the attention that I think it should have this week, and there's so much going on, you can't focus on every little detail. The idea that facing a key third down, Sean McVay took Jared Goff off the field and brought in your guy Blake Bortles for some sort of ill-conceived read option. Like, if you've got a franchise quarterback, you trust him in that spot to make a throw.
Have we got an answer on that yet, Mike? I'm glad you brought this up because I watched the film of this game yesterday, and now the play before, Goff took a really good shot. So I don't know yet whether that was intentional or
McVay said it was.
Here's the play.
McVay said it was.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
Then it was a disaster because, like, Blake Bortles came in looking like he was cold and not warmed up, and he bobbled the snap and I think messed up the play in general. I don't know what happened, and if we continue to show this play, look, I don't know if he was – look, he didn't know. Do I hand it off? What do I do? I mean, it was a disaster. So, yes, that was not a good look in general.
Thank you for not saying one of the various words that I feared you were going to say when describing that play, one of which begins with the term cluster. Look, here's the thing. During the game itself, I was watching this live as we were scrambling to get ready for Football Night in America, and the thinking was that there was an injury to Jared Goff when he got slammed into the ground. But then he never saw the trainers, and it was like, what? Something's going on here. And after the game, Sean McVay said that was deliberate, that was intentional, that was planned. And I can't help but wonder, when you look at how ugly that second down play was, you just wonder whether or not McVay just had kind of a fit of fury, right? He keeps a lot of that bottled in. You don't see it come through. And it was like, get that guy the hell off the field. Let's put Blake in there and run, the play that they've been holding in their back pocket for a spot like this.
Right.
And because it's obvious Blake Bortles wasn't ready.
No,
he wasn't ready to come in and do anything.
No, he definitely wasn't. Yeah, you see that replay again. Again, I don't know if he was supposed to keep it or supposed to hand it off and, try to make the defense think he might keep it. But it was not smooth, the execution of the play. And what I would say more than anything is they're a team that's got 2 or 3 running backs right now. Just put one of the damn running backs in at Wildcat quarterback and let them run the freaking ball, okay? I mean, Blake Bortles, yes, he's big and strong, and he is one of the better running quarterbacks in football, but he's not Todd Gurley or Mac Brown or Darrell Henderson either. And I would have rather have seen that than Blake Bortles taking it around the edge against the Steelers' front 7.
At a time when there's a lot of people who think the NFL has caught up with Sean McVay, if this is what he's got to get ahead of the curve,
he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
Let's hope he does.
I don't know if he does this year, but he'll figure it out. He's too smart of a guy to not. I do believe that. So I don't know if he can figure it out all this year because they got a lot of issues. But I do have faith in Sean because he's one of the more intelligent guys I've ever been around in football.
All right, let's keep this rolling with a couple of quarterbacks who are playing extremely well. Which quarterback is more likely to win the game between Baltimore and Houston late this week? Would it be Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson?
Well, man, this is a tough one. I'm going with Deshaun Watson, though, because I think Deshaun Watson's, he's on that rare list of, gosh, he's, not as good a runner as Lamar Jackson, but damn, it's not that far off. He's a really good runner. And then his throwing and ability to extend plays and throwing is greater than Lamar Jackson at this point. That's where he has the edge in that department. Plus, they're a little more executed or have a little more of an offense to execute in those situations where, we haven't really seen the Ravens have to go down and, we're down by 4 or 5 points and we need to now throw the ball because there's only a minute and 20 seconds left and we got to rely on the passing game. They haven't been put in that situation yet. Deshaun Watson has, and I've seen it a number of times, whether it was Clemson or the NFL career, and he's as good as anybody in the business, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are maybe the only 2 guys I can think of that are better than him in those situations. Brady, but he's in that short conversation or that short list.
Yeah, and look, we've seen Deshaun Watson make those clutch plays. Now, we just see Lamar Jackson make spectacular plays at any time in the game.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, we do have that history, that memory of making the big play, making the clutch play. I don't know. I got to choose one or the other. I'm going with Deshaun Watson, but it very well could be Lamar Jackson. Which team under 500 is more likely to pull off an upset this week? Atlanta against the Panthers or Tampa Bay against the Saints?
I'm going to go with Atlanta. I got to think New Orleans is still – that was, I think, a blip on the radar last week. I still think New Orleans is one of the best teams in football. And I think that kind of loss, I'd be scared if I'm Tampa Bay because they'll be pissed off this week. And you're going to deal with a New Orleans team who's been, awoken by a bad performance. Atlanta, Carolina, I just don't think Carolina's good. but they're not as good as the New Orleans Saints, right? And Atlanta does have some things that scare you on their team. I mean, you know, they got Grady Jarrett. They got 2 really fast linebackers. Atlanta changed it up on defense a little last week, Mike. I mean, I've only been asking them to do that for 2 years now, and they found a little bit of a running game too. So if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to say Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think Atlanta has every reason to try to continue the momentum. You squander what you did last week if you don't show up and give the Panthers everything they can handle. And the Panthers, like we saw it last year, they fell apart down the stretch, and we'll see if they're in the process of falling apart again.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.